Well, good morning. I hope you're having a great day today. Um, we are going to be talking this week about Joseph going from being a dream interpreter to becoming a ruler of the greatest land in the world at that time, which was Egypt. And so we pick up our story. He's in prison at the end of Genesis chapter 39. He's put in prison. We're told in Genesis 39, verses 21 through 23, that he was exalted to be the highest ranking prisoner that was in there. And as a result of that, he was trusted with all of the other prisoners, and he was managing them and making sure everything was going well. And just kind of awesome how he was taken from this horrible thing of being thrown into prison to now being exalted to being the head of the prisoners. And so talk about how it's just awesome how he was dependent on God and he kept doing life the way that he should. And as a result, he was exalted. And so we're going to stop at this section in here, and then we'll talk about these questions with our group. When bad things in life come up, do you use them for self-worship by seeking pity, or by making it be about how tough your life is? So many times the trap we fall into is bad things will come into life, and we just post it all over Facebook, and we Twitter about it, and we go on complaining about how tough life is, and we always throw in the old obligatory, well, I'm sure God's got a plan, type of thing. But here's Joseph in prison. He had to think life can't get much worse. I mean, being traded as a slave, at least you could see the outside, but now here he is, he's a prisoner, and he's got to respond to this. And so um, we just want to talk about how do we approach things in life when they're tough in a way that brings honor to God instead of exalt ourselves. Also, just talking about, do you even recognize the plan that God is working around you even through the tough times? And do you put your dependence on the Lord in those times? And I just keep thinking about Beth Hopper. She's just a sweet girl who's going through a lot, and now been told she just has less than 6 months to live, probably. And she's just still praising God and still serving and still joyful and still happy. And we want to talk about just having that kind of perspective in the hard times, because that's a huge difference to everybody else around us. Then we'll talk about the fact that about him interpreting the two prisoners' dreams that come true, the chief baker and the cupbearer. The cupbearer's dream comes true, and he's exalted back to his position. And then the chief baker's dream comes true, and he actually dies. As a result of that, Pharaoh has some dreams that are troubling, and he's just trying to get them figured out. And at the end of all of that, um, the cupbearer comes and says, "Hey, there was this guy in prison who interpreted my dreams, and they were right on." And so they call for him, and he comes, and Joseph comes, and right away he points out the fact that I'm not the one who's interpreting these dreams. God will tell me what the interpretations are. I'm not the great one here. God's the great one here. And he steps up and he gives the interpretation of the dreams, which were not going to be favorably received. And but as a result, it was a warning to the land of Egypt. And so um, just some questions we can talk about from this. Uh, when good things happen in our life that are the result of God's work, do we take credit for those things, or do we point the attention back to God? And why is it so easy to want to take the credit? You may want to think up of a few scenarios or situations where that would be a temptation, where God does something great and we steal the credit. And then lastly, we'll talk about verses 37 through 45 of Genesis chapter 41, and about how he is exalted by Pharaoh. Pharaoh recognizes that God is at work in him, just like Potiphar had before, just like the warden had. He recognizes it, and he says, I'm going to exalt you. You are now going to be in charge of everything under me except for me. And you take over, and you lead, and you rule this country. And the question we want to talk about is, do you reflect the glory of God so much that others cannot help but recognize that it is God who is at work in your life? Hey, I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you get out to some graduation open houses, or you enjoy some time with your family this weekend. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great day.